And all of a sudden at the 11th hour came this, timeout.
An algae crisis threatening our treasure coast.
A cycle of despair and disgust amidst promises made and broken.
Billions of gallons of water are rushing from Lake Okeechobee to our coastline.
How much pollution is too much? How much danger is too much? How much before this will stop?
So I've been working on the Lake Okeechobee regulation schedule since I came into Congress, and I wrote a law that demanded that the U.S. Army Corps of Engineers, they redo their whole management plan for Lake Okeechobee. That was called LORS, now it's going to be called LOSM.
Lake discharges are destroying the southern Indian River Lagoon and the St. Lucie River. Just the salinity fluctuations that these discharges cause are hurting animals that need salty water to live. So when you dump fresh water into an estuary that's meant to be a saltwater place, plants and animals that need a certain amount of salinity to thrive, they either move or they die.
So after I got that bill signed into law that the Corps of Engineers has to redo their management plan for the lake, we've been working on it ever since. It has been an effort from stakeholders across the state and having anything to do with water.
The National Marine Fisheries wanted to do some further consult with the Corps about the discharges, particularly how they affect sea turtles on the west coast.
They thought they were this close to stopping or nearly stopping harmful discharges from Lake Okeechobee eastward into the St. Lucie estuary.
Now I smell a rat in all of this.
At the last minute, the National Marine Fisheries Service has said it wants a review on the impact of swimming turtles on Florida's west coast. Why not before?
What you have going on right now is they're talking about the health of turtles, which is important. But they're only looking at it on one coast.
Why just that focus? Why did they just focus on that issue?
Our estuaries provide a nursery for teenage sea turtles.
They're not looking at the dolphins and manatee and sea turtles over here. They're only looking at it in one place.
We're looking at the overall impacts of Lake discharges on the health of the whole ecosystem. What's bad for sea turtles is bad for manatees, it's bad for snook and tarpon, it's bad for shrimp and crabs, it's bad for a whole community.
Some of the big problems that this poses for the Treasure Coast, number one, in year 2023, you're not going to see the new management plan for Lake Okeechobee implemented because of what National Marine Fisheries Service is doing with this lawsuit.
All of us are concerned because now we're in the wet season, rainy season, this lake is high, and we need to be under that new schedule, which calls for 0 discharges to the St. Lucie estuary.
It's one way that it affects it. Number two, if it changes the quantity, the volume of where water goes and when it goes to different places because of what they decide, that could affect the Treasure Coast of Florida.
At the southern end of the Indian River Lagoon, the biggest issues we're facing are discharges from Lake Okeechobee into the St. Lucie River.
But there's a number of ways that it could harm us, and in the end, you have to believe this is what the sugar industry looks to do. They don't care who they harm. They don't care if they harm the estuaries. They don't care if disgusting Lake Okeechobee water gets dumped on both of the coasts of Florida. All is well if they get the water that they want. Don't worry about the rest of the people.
Any delay in this LOSM project is just going to prevent us from seeing possible improvements in water quality in our estuary. Last year was a reasonably dry year, so we didn't see discharges out of the lake, and because of that, our water actually looked pretty good. I think our estuary looked the best it has in a number of years.
If I were to say some good news on this, I would say this. If National Marine Fisheries Service is worried about the turtles, then they should be exponentially worried about the people that live here, our community that gets crapped on year after year after year because of disgusting government policies.
This part of Florida is well known for its recreational fishing. We've got a phenomenal fishery. Unfortunately, the changes we've seen in water quality over the last couple of decades are impacting that fishery. Beyond fish, we also have a thriving nursery for juvenile sea turtles. Sea turtles nest on our local beaches, but they also spend their teenage years in the estuaries grazing on seagrass. When you wipe out seagrass, you lose an important home for our charismatic sea turtles.
We're saying, come on, the agencies have been together on this since the very beginning in 2019. Why can't they get together and finalize this out?
Still making progress. What gets implemented will ultimately be better than the status quo. And I'm going to continue to be up their ass every single day fighting for clean water in our community.